Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT news, and with VCT Masters Copenhagen still chugging along with some crazy results, we're going to dive into. Sentinels have also been getting ready for their bootcamp coming up very soon indeed. Shroud saying their current team dynamic is a bit of a disaster, but believes it can certainly improve by the time the LCQ comes around. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate. Apologies, couldn't get a video out yesterday. That the Wi-Fi in that hotel was not going to cooperate, so we had to call it off for a day because I was away. But we're back in business today, baby. Do not worry about it. The only thing I really missed was the fact that Fnatic just destroyed FPX and Turko went off on the main stage. So they are continuing on in the tourney. They play, I believe, maybe tomorrow. We'll have to look at the schedule here in a second. But first, we wanted to mention this from Paper X. There were some rumors that GenG had been kind of in pretty close proximity to Forsaken, who tested positive, and now a second member of that team has tested positive as well. So that's not an ideal situation for them at all. They're going to have to play separate, but it still worked out for them against Guild the other day. So maybe they can still make it happen as the tournament progresses. Let's talk some interesting rumors actually with regard to organizations. Apparently Bleed Esports sent out, I'm pretty sure they maybe deleted this one, yeah, as actually Bodog says, we just sent out a $2.6 million contract offer for a Valorant player. Let's see how this one pays out. So I've no idea what's going on here. I guess Singaporean money goes crazy. Like, who would they be targeting for $2.6 million? Have they just like talked to Sentinels and said, look, we'll buy TenZ for this? Or like, I really don't understand this one, if this is even true at all, but I thought it was rather interesting regardless. Now, speaking of organizations, the exodus does continue here ahead of the franchise ecosystem coming in next season. Saw Gaming, like, have been a long-term organization really supporting the Valorant ecosystem, especially in effectively the tier 2 sides, but they know full well at this point they're not going to get a spot in the franchise side next year for North America or another region, and therefore it's like, look, is it really worth the investment? A lot of these organizations have to wonder if they're not in like the tier 2 ecosystem that can actually sell players easily to upper echelons or also qualify for tier 1, as they've obviously been trying to do and get to that point. Is it really worth it to actually invest into Valorant anymore? Many organizations are going to say no, and understandably so. So many organizations are going to leave, especially the ones that don't get a spot, Saw being one of them. Like, yeah, it's pretty sad to see, and I do wonder what the kind of support for the second tier of Valorant actually looks like when a lot of these organizations that have been doing it for quite some time are going to be like, well, the return on investment isn't really there now that I don't have any chance to get into the partnership ecosystem effectively. Now, another organization in remarkable fashion being affected by this is Shopify Rebellion. They confirmed yesterday, Riot actually informed the Rebellion that they would not be moving forward with their partnership program. So this is rather interesting. I wasn't really convinced that we were going to quite have actually announcements from Riot themselves to these organizations as of yet, but like, look, they're reviewing these partnership applications. Sentinels, Cloud9, all these orgs have applied for partnership. Only some of them are going to get it, right? Some big organizations, maybe even FaZe, right, like XSET, who knows, are going to get a spot in the franchise side next year because there are limited spots in these leagues. And I don't really think anyone particularly expected Shopify Rebellion to get it, right? But I thought they would be at least maybe in the running because they've done well on the female Valorant side. They've picked up this ex-Luminosity squad to try and make a run and maybe try and prove that they're deserving of it. They gave it a go, but it didn't work out right. Riot confirms that, they're not going to be there in the Valorant system next season, and now they've got to figure out exactly what they decide to do. They're disappointed. A popularity contest for a woefully small number of team slots in a partner league was always going to leave too many on the outside looking in. Moving forward, our hope is that Riot will find meaningful ways to support the broader ecosystem. Too many incredible players, creators, and talent that have invested their lives in making Valorant a success deserve it. As for our plans, we'll continue to support all our teams and our players in the same way we always have. Our priority is and always has been making sure Rebellion players have everything they need in the pursuit of winning. Esports can be better, etc., etc. So yeah, they're going to keep their roster for now, but I can't imagine that's going to last too long. We'll see how it goes, because that's the thing. They want ways to actually get some return on investments here, and it's not guaranteed it's going to happen if they're not in the partnership side. So yeah, definitely some concerns about what the future of Valorant looks like with organizations like this potentially leaving. I mean, Luminosity already have, and their team that has now been picked up by Shopify Rebellion is still not going to get a spot. So many of these players also might be out of a job next year as well. So it is one of these key transitionary periods, kind of as Valorant's gone from one stage to another, but it's definitely going to leave a lot of bodies along the way. Let's talk about Valorant Masters, right? DRX, of course, played their series last night up against Leviathan. Honestly, this was ridiculous. Mako had 51 assists. Like, I'll say it again. 51 assists, 43 kills over 3 maps of play. That is got to be surely that's a record, right? For at least a Masters event. That's just absolutely absurd. And well, this is how the series went down. Leviathan honestly really came to play game one. And the kind of number one seeds from the Latin American side. DRX couldn't really get anything going here on the ascent. They do bounce back though in the game two. They end up taking the breeze. Like, they are honestly so good on breeze. Their defense is just ridiculously good. They destroy Leviathan here, take it to a game 3, and win this one as well. It got closer on the Haven, like at Leviathan were bringing it back. Nice plays here for the Leviathan guys to try and keep this one close. They eventually take it back to 11-12, but DRX close out the series in the end, as I think most people were expecting, and they move on the tourney, right? But we get very similar matchups again this time to what we saw last time around. Definitely definitely still some questions going on right now about the format as well. But yeah, DRX 2-1. Like, I mean, yeah, look at this number of assists. It's just such a ridiculous number. 80% cast as well. Mako, man, like, what a player he is. And also, Stacks play well this series as well, just because BCJ on XSET was talking about, okay, Stacks really isn't all that, but maybe BCJ wants to watch a bit more VOD based on how he was performing last night. Let's dive into that series then. XSET, of course, versus OpTic. And this is where I think we kind of saw, like, the way this format isn't really the best, right? Because XSET, of course, the number 1 seeds, they're already guaranteed through to the playoffs, but they've had no warm-up at all. OpTic have already played 3 matches, as we talked about a couple of days ago, on LAN, like, on big teams, against big teams, to warm up for this. And then they just came in here against XSET and completely blew them off the server, effectively. Like, I don't know if this is going to be a guard situation where XSET turn up here, because they said before the tourney, like, comparing themselves to the guards, that they feel like they had kind of more experience, right? They would have been better against a team like OpTic than the guard were when they came to LAN. But, I mean, they got destroyed this series, right? They've got a lot to think about. OpTic, in fairness, played spectacular Valorant here. This is OpTic pretty much at their very best. They took the lead and they didn't rescind it. And, yeah, this is what OpTic can do on their day. But, of course, having had the chance to warm up in this tournament, right, and XSET haven't had that chance, it definitely does raise the question as to whether the format could be different. Game 1, map point for OpTic relatively convincingly here on the Haven. They win this one, like, without too much difficulty. And then game 2, this really was the critical round to me, because, like, at this point, if XSET got 3-1 here on their defense, who knows what happens. But Crashies somehow wins this 1v3. Like, the way they played this was absolutely terrible. Look at this. He gets the bomb down. BCJ, in fairness, has to take the blame, because there's no way he should be missing all those shots, man. That was honestly pretty tragic to watch. And then, in fairness, the XSET guys kind of wait for their team. And then I believe it's Dephh that comes around the corner here, gets headshotted immediately. Aaron can't get the trade. And then, I mean, honestly, it's kind of a messy one. And then in the end here, Crashies is only on 30 HP. I could bring this up on the big screen, I suppose, for this final kill. Crashies does 30 HP. The other guy's got 87 plus 24. And still, like, I don't know where the shots went, to be honest. But, I mean, yeah, that was a round that the whiffs were coming through for XSET pretty hard. And then as soon as you saw that, you kind of knew it was going to be job done and dusted. Ye was hitting some nice shots here as well in the final round. And yeah, OpTic retake the bomb site. They win this 13-6 in the end after a 13-7 game 1. And they move on in the tournament in emphatic fashion onto the winners' semi-finals. Now, I wanted to mention this actually real quick from Ye, because he wasn't the happiest man at all about effectively the current balancing of Killjoys. He says, hoping the next agent has another 200 credit ability that breaks Killjoy's 7-orb ult. She's too OP, needs more counterplay, right? So people are kind of talking about the fact that breaches, like the shockwave or whatever it is for 200, can break it. But yeah, a lot of people are saying that Killjoy just has that very limited counterplay right now. And he's frustrated, but at the state of that meta, like Killjoy can just be used, put the ultimate down, and is actually really difficult to stop. So I wonder if the developers will look into this one, right? Goes on to say, like, Killjoy is just way too strong. She's got a turret with built-in aim lock, right? Which obviously is true as well. So kind of funny, I'm sure Ye just thinking back to his Counter-Strike days and thinking, like, hang on a second, like, I'm up against this turret that I can just plonk down on the map and get some free shots on board. But look, still, they win the series regardless. They move on emphatically, and they play DRX next. I'm pretty sure they played them last time out in Masters 1. I'm pretty sure OpTic came out on top, because I think that might have been a lower bracket game. But OpTic hitting form at a very crucial moment indeed. Cryocells individually played great again, like so did zyppan, I thought, to a degree. So good to see their kind of star players, their heavy hitters, showing some performance. I still think they have some life in them in this tournament here. But yeah, Victor, Crashies, Ye, they all turned out. When it's Victor and Crashies kind of topping the score charts, you know it's GG for the opposition. Crashies obviously was a monster on that final game as well. But Victor, 13-6 in first bloods. Like, that's ridiculous. Crow was 5-0, but not quite the impact that Victor had over the course of this series. And even as Vanity says, right, talking about the format, starting groups is better than playoffs. That's the thing. OpTic, yes, they lost their round 1 matchup, but after that, after they lost to Guilds, they bounced back, they got some momentum. Like, if they'd have come in where XSET did, OpTic maybe have started quite slow. They might have lost to XSET here and been in a bad situation, but actually starting in the groups here and playing more games, despite the fact that you could go out of the tourney, is probably better for your actual hopes of winning the tournament than what's happened here, right? Hopefully XSET can turn it around to it. They got blown off the server yesterday, there's no doubt about it. And look at this, right? This has just showed the consistency of OpTic and like the efficiency in trading out these winning advantages. Whenever they had a one-man advantage, they won at 23 out of 23 of those rounds. Like, it's incredibly rare that a team can convert that consistently. They did it right here, 23 out of 23. Obviously, it's going to be tough to keep up against a team like DRX, but a great start to the bracket play for OpTic as they try and mount the defense of their title back in Masters 1. Let's talk Sentinels, right? Because, of course, they won an event last season in Reykjavik, but a very different squad now. They're convinced somehow that, the team of dapr, ShahZaM, Shroud, TenZ, and Zelsis is going to win champions, but Shroud actually says the last couple of days they've been scrimming, they've been practicing, trying to get things into a groove before they go to the boot camp, that it's not necessarily been going all that well, right? He's still kind of enjoying practice more than playing ranked play and other stuff like this, but in Shroud's words, it's been a bit of a disaster, getting the roles in play, getting the callouts in play, making sure everyone knows what they're doing in certain situations. So yeah, definitely a massive learning curve here for Sentinels. They've got a few weeks to figure it out, but it's not going to be easy.
That's probably not a bad pick, eh?
Did you guys start practice? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the worst thing that I could pick right now, you know?
The real practice is going to start at boot camp, but yeah, we've kind of started scrimming and getting accustomed to things. We're changing so many things, changing so many positions and comps, and it's a disaster, I'll be honest, right now, because we are just scrambling and just like trying to find the right fit. But it's not bad. Just one map at a time. Take it one map at a time. Playing scrims is so easy compared to ranked, though. Ranked is the hardest thing in the world. Ranked is literally the hardest thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Scrims is fine. People actually miss in scrims. It's great. It's nice. In ranked, they don't miss. But like in actual like competitive environments, people miss. People missed me. It's crazy.
So what do you think about this Sentinels team? Well, it's an interesting one because, of course, a guy like Shroud trying to fit into this system, like, not really too familiar with a lot of these players anyway. At least I hasn't played with most of them during his career back in the day. Of course, aware of them and everything, but not necessarily particularly close. And also having not played, like, Valorant at this type of level, like, learning the callouts and the way teams describe certain situations is obviously going to be a bit of a challenge, right? So, obviously, there's going to be an adjustment period here with Shroud stepping into this team, and with Zeltis there as well. Like, he's going to bring some new ideas over, but, like, they've got to turn things around quickly. If it has been a bit of a disaster in their practice the last few days, they've got to get on top of that soon. And I do believe that by the time they get to the bootcamp especially, and I'm guessing they're going to start it probably in a week or so at this point, or maybe even less than that if they want good practice here ahead of the last chance qualifier. But by that point, they should be probably on the same page and can actually properly practice. But until they get on the same page, it's tough to improve drastically and go through that improvement curve that I'm sure Raucus and the coaching staff wants to see. They have also been looking into an analyst, right? And apparently they rejected Pokimane for the analyst position. Wish her the best of luck in future endeavors. So still no confirmation yet as to who the analysts are going to be, if it's one or two for this Sentinels roster, but it does seem like they're taking it serious to a degree. But of course, at the end of the day, the analysts, the coaching staff kind of pales in significance a lot of the time to the actual potential of the team itself, and that of course is the key to success if a Shroud and the guys can turn it around over the coming weeks. And tweet your perspective on that one in the comment section below. Just to mention this as well, just to kind of show that OpTic right now definitely seem to be a team that, of course, like some teams, they take timeouts in kind of situations where they might be on the back foot, right, or have difficult money, and therefore you're going to get some bias here. But I thought it was impressive that OpTic, before timeouts, their score in a particular half is adding up to be 21 in 47. After they take timeouts, 36 in 24, right? So OpTic very good, it seems, of when they're behind in games, taking a timeout, having a breather, having a think about it, and then really coming back strong. Probably the best team at doing that right now. So definitely some credit deserving to cHed and the guys on that side. But this is the way the bracket presently looks. So the upper semi-finals will continue tomorrow. Today, though, teams are going to go out of the tourney. Guild versus FPX. I kind of want to take FPX in this one, right? I believe they're going to have their full strength roster now. I think Saigetsu is hopefully out there in time. And then Leviatan Exit. I think that Exit can make a run, but I'm far from convinced. I do wonder very much indeed whether Exit are going to do a guard and get double rounded straight out of the bracket as the #1 North American seed. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.